We are the Hollywood Paranormal Detectives.
That's right. God, I love that picture because I love Nevada State Prison. What's up, HPD Universe? Just saying hi. It is Wednesday night, and I know we missed a few weeks, and this is 2 weeks back because we had to go to PEX. We had a lot of work to do, but we're back giving you what you want, what all you people want, and that's to hear from paranormal investigators, talking to paranormal investigators. What's it like paranormal investigating? And we are doing great tonight. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and TikTok right here on the side. And tonight, after our episode, I'm going to go straight to the Twitch, and I'm going to be playing the Mortician's Assistant. So you want to follow me over there and watch me turn off all the lights and get scared out of my mind. So, but for all that, let me bring her in at a house. You know who I'm talking about. Do I have to say her name, Miss Mandy?
Woo!
That was your
I was waiting for the groundhog
intro. Do I have to speak his name? Yeah, the big man.
I'm here.
What's up?
I'm here. Not much.
How are you this week?
I just asked you.
You look very California today.
I feel very California today.
That's right. I have too much energy. Tonight we have an awesome guest that I'm excited to talk to because I love the topic that he focuses on. We met him at Vulture City. Well, not yet. We haven't been to Vulture City yet.
What?
We met him at PEX Paracon the last few weeks ago. This is Jason from Cemetery Road. What's up? Bang.
Cheers, everybody. Cheers.
Oh, his own glass.
I got my glass. I opened it with my own bottle opener. Listen, it's all about the branding, son.
I know what you mean.
It's weird. Yet I didn't wear one of my own shirts. I went Ghostbusters because I know you're a Ghostbusters fan. So
there are so
I wore
many...
this ridiculous outfit for you.
Virginia City is covered with HPD stickers, and I took a picture of it.
I noticed. I went to the bathroom and I saw a sticker. I was like,
oh no,
I know those guys.
How are you doing?
It was at the barbecue place.
It was at the barbecue place. Yeah, I put one right where you get your soap, so everybody gets their soap. They're gonna read it. I didn't put it there. I gave out a lot of stickers that weekend. It could have been anybody.
No control over where they put them. I'm doing good, man. I see a lot of my friends in the chat. We got Weeping Willow Paranormal. That's Cassie. She was at PEX with us too. I investigated with her a bunch that weekend. We've got Joe in the chat. Karen, who was my my partner for all of my investigations on that weekend. She's awesome. She finally made it back to Australia. So
I didn't get
that's right. I had her little chocolate things. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
So
she
good.
brought a lot of goodies.
Yeah, she did.
So how was PEX for you? How would you sum up your experience?
I had a great time, and honestly, like I'm from Reno originally, so I've been to Virginia City a bajillion times. I've investigated up there a bunch, but the event itself is great, and I like the event. Vivian and Jamie Lee put on a great event. We had a ton of fun, but honestly, the thing that kind of made the event for me was the people I got to interact with. Meeting you guys for the first time, being able to investigate with Cassie was amazing. We are very similar in the way we investigate, so that was great. Karen has quickly become my best friend in the world. She's awesome. She's my favorite Australian. Don't tell the others.
I'll tell Hugh Jackman.
No, he'll beat me. But then, like, everybody was pretty much cool. Like, there was very few people that you couldn't just quickly strike up a fun conversation with and then lose like 2 hours of your life before you knew what was going on. You're like, oh man, sun's going down. We should probably do something. And that was great. I've been to a few kind of events and stuff, and sometimes you get the people that are just kind of like they're a little apart from people. They either because they're shy, or maybe they're having a bad day, or they're feeling like better than everybody else, something to that extent. I didn't really get much of that at PEX. It was awesome.
It was neat because I felt it was a lot of people that were eager. Everybody was kind of excited to be there. I didn't it wasn't something, I've been here, done that. It was a lot of like, this is going to be neat. Like,
there are very few people that I've met who've investigated in Virginia City who come in with an attitude who are just like, ugh, I've seen the Washoe Club before. Well, I've been to Mackey Mansion. I've invested. Like, everybody's super excited to revisit these locations because they're just awesome. They're just awesome, and you never know what you're going to get, really.
Yeah.
And Mandy, you'd been how many times in the last few months?
I've gone to Virginia City almost every month for the last 6 months.
And you're in LA, so that's a trip.
Yeah. But it's always exciting every single time. I never get tired of it.
And I went, and I could imagine it's like this candy you only get once, and you get to go back. Oh, I get another piece. I really love Washoe, having never been to Washoe, and what surprised me, one, how big it was up there.
I know.
And then two, how set ready it was. Does that make sense? It looked like a cool abandoned place.
Except for those stupid mannequins. And every time I go in there, those mannequins are in different places, man. So you think you're prepared.
You're
like, okay, I'm going to walk in here. I'm going to move here. And there's going to be that mannequin that scared me 5 times last time. And I walk in, I'm like, oh, it's gone. All right. Oh, now it's on the 3rd floor behind a wall. It's like, oh, there he is. Okay.
Oh my God.
It was pretty neat. Going upstairs and then going upstairs and then just getting lost there. And then me and Brian ended our trip, with Saturday night. We got our only EVP in the Washoe, and it said, "Get out of the Washoe."
You're like, all right.
To catch an EVP that said Washoe in the Washoe was just boom. It was amazing.
Well, I'm working with a couple of teams on the Washoe. We investigated that weekend. It was me and Weeping Willow Paranormal and Chasing the Darkness, Levy and his wife. So we had a super team. It was me and Karen. It was Cassie and her husband, Ron, who's also in the chat. He's my Canadian bacon. He had to be there. And then we had Levy and his wife, Kathy. We formed this super team that investigated the Washoe Club. Yeah. And we're going to be releasing our Washoe Club episodes starting, I want to say, next week. Cassie will correct me. I think next week we're at least me and Cassie's episodes are walkthrough. So each team got some time to do their own kind of walkthrough of the location, and then we all teamed up to start investigating. So those episodes are they're going to basically take over October for us. So make sure you're subscribed to all 3 of those channels because we had a ton of fun in Washoe Club.
Yeah, I assume a wave of Virginia City episodes are coming from all over.
I know, right? Especially from the New Reality, who is in the chat. Cody.
Hold up.
Cody being fun over there. I know Cody and Sean did a bunch of investigations while we were up there too. And that was really cool about PEX. A lot of the teams were able to, after hours, after the event, just be able to go and investigate. And so a lot of us got a ton of good content, and we all, a lot of us got to team up. People that had never worked before got to team up. And the only unfortunate part about that is at the end of the weekend, you're just like, now I want to team up with everybody. You were cool. I want to team up with you, and you were cool. But there just wasn't enough hours in the day for everybody.
Yeah,
had to sleep sometime.
The end of Friday at the Opera House, we ended up with tons of people with us.
Nice.
We had Natalie and Patty and Patrick and I don't know.
I was in the bar at the.
There was
Friday. Friday night was our night off, and we all just kind of took over the corner bar, which technically closed at 11. And from what I hear, it didn't get closed down till nearly 4.
Oh, I heard word on the street is you're flying out to film with the New Reality soon.
That's news to me. But me and Cody and Sean have been trying to investigate together, and the second they give me the invite and tell me when and where, I'm there, because I really enjoy investigating with those guys. They are a lot of fun.
Yeah, we pretty much investigated. I just stayed with Brian. They didn't put us with anybody. I guess because we have 3 people, as opposed to most people had 2 or 1, so they got teamed up. But
I honestly like the only reason I was able to team up with Cassie and her husband for Weeping Willow Paranormal as much is because of Karen. Because Karen makes best friends with everybody in the world, like literally at this point. I met up with Karen to have lunch with her because I'm like, if you're flying from Australia for the first time ever and you're coming out here, like I want to make sure you have a good time. So me and her went and had lunch. I took her to a restaurant my friend's owned in Reno where she had biscuits and gravy for the first time.
What?
I love that.
She's like, what's a biscuit? Like, let's
get ready to live.
And I knew what was going to happen because I get this a lot from people who are from overseas and stuff. The second the breakfast came out, because it's kind of a breakfast lunch place, she's like, this is so much food. Like this is a lot. I'm not going to be able to finish it. And I'm like, don't worry about it. But
you're supposed
she
to.
also made friends with Cassie and her husband. And so I got invited to have dinner with them the next night. And I had met Cassie the year before at PEX. She was just someone who bought a ticket and came with some friends. But because she had just I want to say just started her paranormal investigation, or because of PEX she started her investigative channel. She was invited as a guest this time.
Okay.
And so there was some familiarity. Plus, me and Cassie had chit-chatted in the chats for Haunted Side a bunch. And so it was like, we kind of know each other or whatever. But we became super fast friends, and her husband's awesome. And it was a relief when we made plans to investigate with each other that our investigative styles worked well together. Because it could have been like, I walk in and my investigative style is more quiet and kind of subdued. And if she would have just kicked down the door and been like, where's the ghost? Possess me, I would have been like, that's one weird. I didn't picture you as the possessed type, but sure, why not? But we worked really, really well together, and it's all because of Karen. I don't know if me and Cassie would have hung out as much if we hadn't have had Karen as our bridge.
Yeah. How many people would you say were repeats from last year's PEX?
Not that many, honestly. Okay. There were a few guests that were the same. So Matt Benton, all his crew, and Joe, the Levy was there last year. Otherwise, ticket holders, if you will, non quote unquote talent, which I hate calling ourselves talent. We're there to have fun just as much as everybody else. There was probably just a small handful. It was a bunch of new people, and it was a lot of fun to meet a whole new crowd of folks.
Yeah. It was the only thing I was confused sometimes because I didn't know who was talent and who were guests. Because
at some point it just we all mixed together. Yeah.
Well, that was kind of people that I thought were guests were popping out better equipment than I had, and I was like, "Well, are you on the roster? Are you on the?" And I was like, just show me what to do. I don't know how to use this thing. It was kind of confusing a little bit, sometimes, but it was kind of neat. Just so many investigators in one spot that are all kind of that walk tour we did was pretty neat. Just hearing everyone ask questions. I love people's questioning. What do they come up with in spots? Is always what I think. When I hear the most basic things to something real creative, I'm always jealous of that perfect question. I really liked Weeping Willow. I think I filmed for them. I grabbed their camera while we were waiting at the wash show, and I was like, "I'll cameraman for you for."
I did the same thing to her because it's funny because apparently Cassie gets turned around quite a bit. And it was her turn to do her solo through the Washoe Club during our investigation time. And she's like, well, how am I going to get turned around? Am I going to get lost in there? And I'm like, I mean,
somebody will find you.
And her husband was even just like, Like she's bad. She's like gets lost in her own bedroom kind of thing. And so I was like, do you want me to go with you? Like I will hold the camera, won't say a word, and I'll just point you in the right direction. And that was kind of that's when we figured out we worked really well together.
That's good. So pre PEX, pre Cemetery Road, do you consider yourself like into documentation or history or paranormal? Because Cemetery Road isn't necessarily paranormal, correct? It's more
Cemetery.
about
Well,
the cemeteries.
the origin of Cemetery Road was I love cemeteries. I'm a tapophile. Tapophiles are people who love to walk amongst the stones, and I like to do cemetery photography. It's one of my it's how I relax, is just to like find a good cemetery, just take some photos, and that's kind of my thing. And I was looking for a creative outlet because while I was doing haunted side, like that was for me filming and doing paranormal stuff. I had no hand in the editing. I didn't have a whole lot of creative control other than where I pointed the camera. And so as a filmmaker, I kind of consider myself a documentarian filmmaker. I've made a couple documentaries, some short films. I needed that creative outlet. I wanted to shoot something and edit it together and present it to people. And so I was like, well, I'm always in cemeteries. I'm always taking photos. Why don't I just shoot a couple videos and see if anybody else has any interest in what I'm doing?
Yeah.
And it turns out way more than I thought. I mean, my channel's not doing gangbusters, like it's not millions of followers or whatever, but I've got nearly 3,000, and I thought I would have maybe 10.
Who doesn't love cemeteries?
Yeah, and the paranormal side of it, Cemetery Road Investigations, just came out of necessity. After I left Haunted Side, I still wanted to do investigations, and I had people asking me like, are you still going to do investigations? We would love to see your kinds of investigations. And so I was like, why not? Let's do it. There was a trip I had planned for a while that I'd been trying to go do with my former team, and it was proving to be more of a pain in the butt to get it done. And so I was like, screw it, I'll do it. I'll just go. Yeah. So I asked my oldest son, I'm like, hey, you always wanted to go ghost hunting with me. Do you want to go on
How old is he now?
He is 18.
18. I told my son at 16, 19. I'll take him.
Yeah. Well, he tried to go investigating with me once before, but it didn't work out too well. And so he said, yeah, I'm like, let's go. Like 4 or 5 days. We got 3 locations. Let's go do this thing. And we had a really fun time. And so I'm going to keep doing investigations as long as people want to see them. Obviously, investigations are a lot of time. They're a lot of money, depending on where you're going. But I will do as many as I can at this point. I've got a few under my belt right now in terms of waiting in the wings to be released, especially after PEX. So I think I've got enough to get me through the rest of the year. And then I've got another one I'm going on in November. And then me and Weeping Willow are also planning another team up the beginning of next year. So I've got plans. And the second I hook up with New Reality and go hang out with them, I'll shoot even more. Excellent. So I'm not worried about like running out, but I'm also trying to keep it also. I still want Cemetery Road, my channel, to produce. I still want to do all the cemetery videos that I do as well.
Yeah.
And there's something about cemeteries you can just put on in the background. There's something very relaxing of just having that flow. You can put your channel on and just relax.
Yeah, and I get that a lot from people. People are like, "This is how I relax at night. I'll just put on like all your episodes and just let it go, or I'll have it on in the background." And I like that. I like the fact that my channel is relaxing. I like producing something that is an escape from the real world. Because let's face it, the real world kind of sucks sometimes. So if people are going to consider what I do an escape from that, then I'm definitely doing my job.
Yeah.
Well, and I think I said it before we came on live, is you will never run out of locations. Just
never.
There'd be so many cemeteries and so many. It's such a like smorgasbord of stuff to do. It's so much. I was telling Mandy and Brian, I was almost jealous. I was like, that is such a great idea.
It's fun. And like, honestly, I use an app for anybody who wants to go out and check out cemeteries. I use Find a Grave. There's an app for it, findagrave.com, if you want to use your desktop. And it'll pinpoint where you are, and it'll show you all the cemeteries around you. Wow. And so that's literally all I do. I love going on road trips. So I'll get in my car, I'll drive hours away, and then I'll just go onto the app and be like, all right, what do I got? And it'll tell you, like, there's obviously some cemeteries I kind of avoid. I don't go to memorial gardens or memorial parks where it's just like rectangular flat stones set into the grass. Yeah. Easily mowed, like modern day cemeteries. I go to the older cemeteries, and Find a Grave's cool in that most of them you'll have users who have submitted photos, so you can kind of tell, like, is this something I'm gonna be interested in? Are there older stones, larger stones? Like, what does this look like? There's also they will keep track of like family plots, like old school. You had 20 acres of farmland and a little cemetery in the corner where you buried your grandpa and grandma, kind of thing, and so all the family got buried there. Those will pop up there too. Some of my favorite were ones I had to like go trudge through the grass and the trees and find stones just that are completely forgotten to everybody else. They're just like hidden there. Those are my favorite.
I knew about one when I was a kid in Alabama that was overgrown and lost. That was so far, and it was on this dirt bike trail, and everybody knew where it was, and we'd always like pedal past it quickly at night. But so, one weird question: we've investigated cemeteries before. I think we've got our third episode is in a cemetery, and then we did Good Spring Cemetery by Pioneer Saloon.
I want to go to Good Springs.
Good Spring Cemetery was it was awesome.
Mostly because I'm a Fallout fan, and Fallout New Vegas, like Good Springs is like a major part. I'm a nerd, as you can tell.
I love it.
Well, the first thing I noticed was your Hall of Justice. I
know, like the camera came on, guys. The camera came on, and he's like, "Hey, Jason, how you?"
Is that the Hall of Justice?
Is that the Hall of Justice? Yeah.
Hey, I've got the USS flag in my garage. So.
Guys, I don't know if you let's nerd out for a second. Mandy, if this is boring to you, you can
I'm good.
Scroll phone. I assume we're kind of in the same generation. If you can identify the Hall of Justice from the Superpowers Kenner line, like we're of the same ilk. There are two toys, guys, from our generation that were just like the rich kids had them. Like they were you just never saw them in real life, and if you did, it was like they glowed. Oh. The flag was one of them. It's a aircraft carrier from G.I. Joe. It's
as big massive. As a couch. It's easily as big as a couch, and it fans out and goes in.
It's probably one of the most unrealistic toys to ever buy your child, because you're like, well, how big is their room?
We had to set it up on top of a pool table. And then to play with it, we had to move the pool table out of my house as a kid.
Yeah, ridiculous. It's stupid big. It's just dumb.
So big.
Like if my kids were like, I want a toy and this is how big it is, my response would be like, hell no.
My parents had no idea it was that big. My grandparents got it for us.
The other toy that would be comparable to that was the He-Man Masters of the Universe line had an Eternia playset.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, and it's pretty rare because they didn't sell a ton of them, but it's large. It's very
the one
large.
That had the little monster face.
No, so you have Castle Grayskull.
I have that.
And then Snake Mountain.
That's the one that has the like kind of big nosed kind of creature.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah. See, we're talking the same language. We know. But Eternia had like a big castle in the middle, like a very pretty crystalline castle, and then it had a tram system that ran off to two smaller ones, one representing Grayskull and one representing Snake Mountain. And like it's one of the most sought after like play sets of our generation, next to the USS Flag.
Yeah. I still have the flag is disassembled, but it's there, and I still have
disassemble.
The original base got pretty wide too, with the the catapult up so you can work on the Jeep, and the other side I think bent up. And then I have my Cat Slayer, which was pretty big because the Thundercats were pretty big. That Cat Slayer was pretty big. Anyway, we're
See, this has nothing to. This is how live streams go with me.
Well, that's what happened to me. So I'm a kid and I watch Ghostbusters, and I think that's what I want to be when I grow up. And around
my proton pack is right there.
I don't have. I don't know if you know this magic. Me and Brian worked on Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Did you know?
We got to make the Terror Dog, make Gozer's makeup. We got to cast Olivia Wilde. We got to
see. That's why we're friends now.
Yeah. So as a ghost hunting Ghostbusters fan,
I have the Ghostbusters Afterlife teaser poster right on my wall over there. The one where the Ecto one's drifting through the hayfield or cornfield or whatever.
See, I want to take. So I have one. It's the hayfield poster, but it says it says summer 2020.
Yeah, mine just says coming soon.
Yeah, I got one. I
got the one that's just like they're like we have no idea when we're releasing this now.
Yeah, so I got the one when it came out. Oh, I'm such a dork. So I've got the fake Time cover with the guys on it, the USA Today cover. I've got the Omni cover over here. I've got all.
Mandy is checked out.
I'm in the chat.
Good. Somebody is. I'm sorry, chat. I have been not paying attention.
I got a lot of
Kindred says Mask was so underrated for an 80s cartoon and toy. Absolutely it was.
Oh, yeah. Mask was great.
You need to go back and watch some of my live streams, guys, because like literally me, Vivian, and Crow of Judas had conversations about this for like at least 2 hours where I kind of break down all the geek 80s stuff because I'm an 80s baby. I was born in 1979. Like
79,
I was
same year.
Yep. See, this is what happens, guys.
It's bad.
Giant man babies.
If this camera could move around. I've got.
Oh, I know.
Can you see? Wait, let me see if you can just see the top of this window is all Ghostbusters. Now it's going to ruin all continuity. Ruined.
I know. But we can nerd out forever. The point of hanging out tonight was to talk about the paranormal stuff. So yeah, I went from cemeteries
yes,
to doing some ghost hunting.
And do you investigate the cemeteries when you're there?
Don't.
Or you don't? Have you ever investigated a cemetery?
I have, but only when I have like specific permission to be there after hours. My whole thing is like respecting cemeteries and the people there and the people who have loved ones there. So for me, I try and keep Cemetery Road, the cemetery videos and Cemetery Road investigations very separate. I have nothing against people investigating cemeteries as long as they have permission and are respectful. I have a huge problem with people who investigate cemeteries and are disrespectful. Like I was scrolling through TikTok like you do, and I came across a video where these like two dumb teenagers probably, they're looking for ghosts and they're just like, let's whip out this Ouija board and slap it right down on top of this headstone that's just random headstone I was standing next to. And let's see if we can like contact somebody. And I got angry inside and I was just like, you are being douchebags. But I am not someone who's going to tell any investigative team that, hey, you shouldn't be investigating cemeteries. Every investigative team should do what they want to do. That's up to them. Me, I try to keep it separate. But I have been to cemeteries that have ghost stories associated with them.
Yeah.
And if I know about them, I will talk about them in my video. But me personally, I don't like then go back later and try and investigate or anything. That's just not what Cemetery Road, the cemetery videos are for.
But do you think they're a place where spirits are?
Probably. I mean, I think spirits can be wherever the hell they want. Do I think like every cemetery is haunted? Probably not.
Yeah, I don't think every cemetery is. The person whose headstone they're invisibly sitting next to it. You know?
Yeah, that'd be weird. Like that'd be the most boring place to haunt, guys.
Like, it's just like putting you in a waiting room forever.
But I do feel like, especially in a lot of places, like I feel like people go to locations and they bring a lot of energy to those locations, and that energy can be held there, and maybe not in like I don't know, if you're going to the Sally House, for instance. The Sally House, the story of the Sally House seems more urban legend than anything else. But you have so many people going there and investigating and bringing that energy into that house. It's not out of the realm of possibility that has caused something paranormal to exist in that location.
Just like creating the tall man through the stories.
Exactly. And I think that's the same for cemeteries in some form or fashion. I think like maybe 99% of the time, the people buried there are not there. Their spirits are not there. Because honestly, why would they? I would more expect them to be at their former home or their former place of work or wherever was most important to them in life. But if people are going to go there and bring that energy to that place, it may attract or create something that could be investigated.
I've always thought it would be like a certain kind of crossing over. You would follow your body. Like, if it was sudden, you're going to be where the sudden crossing over happened. If you knew you crossed over, you accept it, you would follow your body to the funeral, possibly to be with your loved ones at that time. And then maybe you didn't want to go to the other side or cross over completely, and you felt like staying around a little bit. Maybe that be the few spirits that I think would be a special situation for them to end up in the cemetery, that they wouldn't want to be at home, but they would kind of want some earthly peace. Mandy, what do you think as a medium going to cemeteries?
Yeah, Mandy, let's not take over the whole show here. We want you to be involved.
I'm here for it.
So when you go to a cemetery, Mandy, what do you feel?
Sometimes I feel things, sometimes I don't. Like I think that cemeteries are kind of like an active portal. So I think spirits can come in and out whenever they want, pretty much like anywhere. But yeah, I don't really know how else to explain it. Like, it's not like, I mean, that sounds bad. I think that whenever you go there and you open up that channel, like you want to talk to your loved one, they're gonna be there listening. And because you've opened that portal to talk to them. Anytime you communicate or you open up conversation with spirit, you're opening up a portal to talk to them. So I think that can happen in cemeteries. But do I think like people are hanging around and stuff? Yeah.
You think that they
come and go? Yeah. Can some not leave?
I have a question for you, Mandy, because I don't get to work or hang out with a lot of people who are mediums. Sean, I think, is the one. Sean from New Reality. I kind of lean on him a lot. He's a jerk. I mean, he's just a big old puppy dog.
Big old puppy dog.
So when you go to a location, cemetery, haunted house, doesn't matter, and you have whatever it is that you have for your mediumship, your feelings, your whatever that is.
Yeah.
I know when I go to a place, if I know it's haunted or I've been told it's haunted and it looks creepy and all that kind of stuff, like there's like an automatic feeling that lays over me of like spookiness. I imagine that you, as just a normal human being, gets that too, but as a medium, there's also there's another level to that. how do you differentiate between those two feelings? Or is there a differentiation?
I always have to tell her. I go, tell me which one. Tell me.
Is this creepy or is this creepy?
Well, what do I tell you, Mandy? I go, is it like the way you see the ghost or the way we would see the ghost? And you go, well, it's this way.
Yeah. That's an interesting question. I feel like sometimes, I feel like people build up a lot of locations. And so I think it creates that, what's that, like the thought pattern where you can like create a haunting?
That
I don't know the term for it.
Mental kind of manifestation where you just sort of focus.
Yeah.
If you start calling something Freddy Krueger enough, it'll start identifying as Freddy Krueger, whether that's what it is.
I believe in the power of like thought manifestation and like actually being able to like manifest hauntings. And so I think that these locations that are haunted, because people time and time again have gone, and if they've gone there and put out the stories, I think that creates this like overlay of, I guess you could call it creepiness. It creates like this overlay, this spooky feeling. And it definitely changes the energy compared to a location that doesn't get talked about a lot. So I think that can happen.
How easy is it for you to tell the difference between something that's kind of been manifested by people and an actual spirit?
It's hard to explain it. It's almost like so I work a lot with claircognizance, which is just the ability to know. So I'll just know things, and I don't know how I know things, but it's like I get this like knowing of like, oh, I know that that's not. I just know the difference. It's hard to explain. I don't feel it. I don't see it. I just know that it's different. Oh, who's that?
That is my middle son. He's bringing me a beer.
Good boy.
That's a good boy. But yeah, no, I'll just know the difference. Sometimes it will feel different too, like almost like a psychic impression versus an actual haunting.
Do you have to kind of figure it out when you enter a place?
Yeah, so I always explain being a medium is like playing telephone, charades, and it's like telephone and charades and all of that all mashed up into one. So it's not super concrete going in. So yeah, so sometimes I'll have to go in and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I gotta like work with all the pieces that they're giving me. And then other times it's super straightforward. I know Sean would probably agree with that.
Yeah, that's kind of a little bit of how he's explained it before. I've only honestly experienced like that idea of knowing something without knowing something once. I think people have seen the episode of Haunted Side that I kind of lost time. And I mentioned someone by name that I had, honestly, I don't remember saying it. Super weird. Wow. I don't think I could handle having that all the time. Like, it's not for me. Not for me. I think I would be one of those like guys like holding their legs in the padded room, rocking back and forth kind of thing. So I think you're doing awesome.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
I mean, you only look sort of crazy, so you're doing
just a little bit. I mean, we all I gotta have a little bit crazy, right?
We all.
I mean, I don't know anything else though, right? Like, I don't know any other way to live or process, and so I'm used. Like, this is my normal, and going to it's not even just locations. There's spirits everywhere, at every location, at every house. Like, people can say that their house isn't haunted, but there's spirits everywhere.
And I assume because you say
Steven,
like, they're everywhere. You don't really have a way to kind of like quiet it down or turn it off or anything.
I have my ways of. It's like a light switch for me. I can kind of turn it off, turn it on whenever I feel like it. Sometimes I can't though. Like, sometimes it's just. They're really like pushy, or the energy is really pushy, but a lot of times I can just kind of tune it out, but that's because I've had like so long to figure that out. But I know like for like a lot of kids it's hard, because kids don't know yet, right? And so children struggle a lot with spirit interaction and being able to turn that off. But over time, you just kind of learn.
So, question for you, Steven. Because Mandy, you're kind of like a recent addition to the team. What is it like investigating as we do, and what is it like investigating with someone like Mandy who can kind of like see beyond?
Well, I remember one of the first times she worked with us, I go, you got to tell me the difference, because she said something like, there's a man behind us, and I was like, what the fuck? And I was like,
he's all throwing hands.
Yeah.
And no, like, you mean like a
and
man?
She's like,
like
no, I
man.
feel. She's like, a man has joined us, a spirit, and I was like, you can't just say there's a man behind us, or there's someone behind that tree. Like, you have to let me. This was at that the Camarillo. Remember? I was like, I was like, you have to tell me if I'm seeing a man joining us. You can't just say a man's joined us, because I won't know the difference. We had to kind of just figure out a lingo of how to refer to things to make sure we understood it. And it's before Mandy, we were very tech based. And I guess I'm, Patty constantly tells me I'm very sensitive, but I don't think I am. Mandy, do you think I am? I don't think I am.
I mean, you do cry a lot.
I cry a lot.
I mean,
maybe that's what they were
really
talking about.
And well, not that kind of sensitive. I'm just.
Oh, okay. Oh, never mind.
But like,
strike that. We're not live, are we?
I see things a lot, so I guess most people don't see as much as I end up seeing, which I don't want to see it, and I hate it every time I see stuff. But the cool thing is, I'll get a feeling. And Mandy will say someone's joined us.
She can kind of confirm.
And I'll be like, oh shit, I got my hair stood up right as she said that. Or we've had a few
just you being like, I'm in a spooky place at night. You're like, I'm going to have that spooky feeling. But when you have that extra spooky feeling, like to have someone without kind of hint say like, there is something here. That's a really interesting way to kind of confirm that you aren't just making it up in your mind.
Well,
that's my favorite part.
We talked about it early, is that we didn't want to just do psychic walkthrough and tech investigation. We wanted to work together, and instead of the way everyone else kind of does one or the other, we wanted to work together and kind of like, if she can say someone here is named George and I can get my EVP to say George, then I think we've proved something, like if she can come up with a name that I can then prove through tech, or Brian can prove through a device, I think we're proving what she's feeling is real and that there's something to prove,
Yeah. I know Karen, who's in the chat, who I've talked about plenty of times so far. So me and her were alone in Washoe Club. It was towards the end of the night. We were doing kind of like our own solo kind of investigation portion. And we walked into that main grand hall of the Washoe Club.
All the way to this side when you come up the stairs.
Second floor, all the way, yeah. And we had been through that room 2, 3, 4 times so far with everybody by ourselves. And we walk in there and I smelled something. Like it smelled different. It smelled like pipe smoke, like a sweet kind of smoky smell. And she immediately caught on to it too. She's like, it smells like someone's like smoking a pipe or smoking something in here. And that's not a smell we had smelled before. And almost immediately, like every hair on my body just went straight up. Like I got the chills.
Yeah.
And she was like, I feel like an electrical current is going through me. And I'm like, yeah, I got chills. Like, look at my arm and all my hairs are standing up. And she's like, so when I watch your videos and y'all say like, I got chills, this is what you're talking about? And I'm like, yes, it's different than like, ooh, this room's cold. I got chills.
Yeah.
Like it's this electric feeling that travels through your body and it doesn't go away for a while. Like you're just, every instinct in your body is on edge and you're just like, I've got And the only way to kind of describe it normally is like I've got chills, because that's how it starts. But then it just stays there, and you're just like, something is off here. My body is telling me something is off here. And so that was one of my favorite parts of that whole weekend at PEX, was her understanding something that we can't really communicate during our like filmed investigations. Like the best way to describe it is I have chills, but you don't understand what we're saying unless you're there and you have that experience yourself. And I imagine kind of Mandy and Steven, it's almost the same thing when he gets chills and you're like, yeah, because of this. And it's like this idea of like,
but it's not like normal chills.
Confirmation.
It's like a,
no,
so
it's not.
And that's, I want to validate, like, that's how I feel. Or when I sense spirit, I get that chilly feeling, but it's not like chills. It's like an internal chill. And like not a cold way, but like a static way. So that's essentially you're feeling spirit. And
it's a physical energy, but it's also like a internal, like, spiritual energy. You know, it's so hard to explain, and that's one of the downfalls about investigating as like a YouTuber or even a television person or whatever. When we're filming our experience and presenting it to people, I would say most of the time, the experience is a personal experience. The way you felt, something you saw that nobody else did, like it happened to you and you alone, and there's no way for you to capture that thing for somebody on the other side of a screen. Very, very few times is it like shadow figure, boom, camera, I saw it. Like, it's and that's the unfortunate part about what we do. People watch our videos and they're like, well, I didn't see anything, like I didn't hear anything. And it's like, I get that. But I did. I either felt something not natural, or I saw something, or I heard something that wasn't able to be captured for you. And I guess that goes back, or that ultimately falls on, like, do you trust me? When I am at a place and I have to explain to you something I can't capture on camera and give to you, do you trust that what I'm saying is real? Because if I've done something to make you doubt that trust, then really everything I'm showing you is pointless. Because if I can't show you the ghost walking across the hallway with chains and a sheet over them, then all you have is me saying, like, I feel this, I am experiencing this. And if you can't trust that what I'm saying is happening, then you might as well go to the next cat video and have a nice day. Like,
oh, very true.
Well, that sort of goes the Washoe Club at PEX. The last group we had, me and Brian probably had a big group of women who kind of weren't too excited, it seemed like, with our investigation style at first, because we were very slow. I kept saying,
I'm the same way.
I just kept saying, make sure everyone can see where everyone is. Make sure everyone's quiet. Everyone's accountable. Everyone take a breath, settle your feet. And I was just doing like 10 EVPs on each room. And we were going room to room in the Washoe. But after each room, I kept saying, but we all will know when we get something, it'll be real. Because we're all accountable. We're all holding our breath. We're all being very quiet. We're all being silent. And they were all kind of like, I could see the disappointment. That it was like, we did about 4 rooms on the second floor, went to the third floor, and I kept saying, all right, everyone quiet. Did about 10 EVPs each room, had everyone asking questions. We go into the front room of the third floor of the Washoe, and I do an EVP, and I go, whose doll is this? Did you see that doll on the floor in the front room? I go, whose doll is this? Do the EVP. And my recording, whose doll is this? And it's like, it's mine. And all those ladies, you would have thought they won the lottery. They all, woo! They were so happy. they were
Yeah.
so ecstatic that there was finally a voice after like 15 rooms.
And
there
that's
was finally a voice.
15
And I
rooms.
was like, see what I mean? Like, so that's a perfect example of what you see on our show is just this room. We've
Yeah.
already been through 20 rooms, and all you
And we've
get on
been
our
in this
show-
room 7 times already.
Yeah. But those ladies were so happy when I got that. And then I got 2 more EVPs in that room. And the last one was Get Out of the Washoe. And everyone heard it. And those ladies
You had
were,
people diving out of
they
windows.
weren't scared, but they were ear to ear grin with like, and the coolest thing is I heard some say, now that was real. Like, which it was like, cool.
Yeah, and-
like maybe something they'd seen on another show or something. They thought, well, that was just a show, but that was real. You know?
And I think that's one of the unfortunate parts, again, like with the most of the time when you're investigating, you're getting personal experiences and not like something you can translate on screen or whatever.
Yeah.
But they are also watching 45 minutes
Yeah.
of that's been cut out of like a 8-hour investigation. Like you're getting a highlight reel, and so people come into these situations thinking that you go on a paranormal investigation, almost immediately you're going to hear voices, you're going to see shadows, something's going to get thrown at you, and when that doesn't happen, there's disappointment. Ghost hunting is boring.
Well,
I
love the quiet of it.
Oh, I love it too. Like, but like it's not as exciting as what you see on TV or on YouTube. It's a long process. You just have to enjoy it. And if you're not willing to sit in a dark room for 45 minutes and see nothing, like probably not for you. Just stick with watching videos. One of the things that me and Karen experienced, and we both experienced it, and I've reviewed the footage, and it's not like, yeah. So me and Karen were in the Washoe Club, and we heard a small female giggle, like straight up. And this was like at, I don't know, 3 something at night. It did not come from outside. It came from inside, almost directly in front of us. And we both heard it.
Yeah.
When I reviewed the footage, it happened while Karen was talking. So I said something to Karen. Karen started responding, and then we both heard it. And we shut up, and we listened, and we both looked at each other, and we were like, a giggle, right? Like a female, like little girl giggle. And
that's the best we both can say something like a dog barking that's obscure that wouldn't be a detail. So, yeah.
And so I reviewed the footage, and you kind of hear the giggle because Karen is talking, and it's right underneath her voice. And as she stops talking, you get like the
end of it. Yeah.
Like, and you get the very end of it. And while it sucks, we couldn't like, we didn't like get that to present to the world and be like, look, a disembodied voice giggle thing. Me and Karen had that experience. Yeah. We heard it. We shared that. And that's good enough for me. Like that made it worth it. It sucks that I can't present it to the world in a video, but it's something that I'm going to carry with me for the rest of my life. She's going to carry, like, we were there in the dark in the Washoe Club and heard that giggle. Did we have like blah 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 like, because it was a long little like giggle. We don't, but it cements our belief that there is
makes
something
you
beyond.
Want to strive to prove even more.
And that is like maybe like 60-75% of the experiences you will have as a ghost hunter, something you can't give to somebody else, but that it cements your pursuit moving forward.
And a lot of times watching the video, it doesn't, when you're in a building in the basement of Tonopah and you're 70 miles from the nearest gas station and 100 miles from the nearest hotel,
I love
Tonopah. There's a feeling
Me too.
there. You know what I mean? When you're alone in one of those old buildings, not on a tour, there's 3 of you alone in one of these old buildings. There's a feeling just from that that the fans don't understand. When people say, it's just fake, you guys walking around in the dark. Yeah,
and it's mostly just Mandy looking at Steven being like, what a nerd.
Yeah.
He's got a giant aircraft carrier in his basement.
I got a dinosaur back here too.
I saw that.
It's okay. I got a lot of weird shit in my house too.
Okay, what's one weird thing? No, not one.
Are you ready?
Give me three weird things, because right now you're in space.
I'm in space. So I'm a Civil War collector, antique and artifact collector. So I have a lot
So
of.
you're like a smart nerd. not a geek
I'll
like
take
us.
it.
You're
I'll
like,
take it.
I know things that are important.
So I have a lot of artifacts in my house, like a little mini museum here. I
got a museum.
See, mine's over here, but yeah, we've got our little museums. I also have some animal skulls on display. I really want a human skull. That's my next one. But yeah, so that's my weird stuff right now.
I don't have a trap, sir. I don't have a trap. I have everything but the trap. There's an antique store near me. There's an antique store near me that has a human skull. But it's like I want to say it's like $300 or $400.
That's
no
it?
teeth. It's pretty rough looking, but it's human. It's a human skull.
Hold on.
I know a lot of people have human skulls.
I know, but they're usually like $2,000 or $3,000, and I'm like, I can't.
It's probably just because this one's in a rough shape.
They all look pretty rough.
Cassie. Sorry, I quickly looked at Mandy. If you're into Civil War history, I would recommend, if you guys are up for traveling. Recently, this last year, I investigated Octagon Hall, which is
cool.
South of Louisville, south of Waverly Hills type thing. And it was like a Civil War kind of hotspot. I think you would love it because it's being used as a museum and paranormal investigative hub.
That's so dope.
So it's got a lot of stuff in it, and like a museum, it's got glass cases with stuff, and then like informational plaques and stuff. I think you would really enjoy investigating that place. That location was, yes, it's great. It's great. It's affordable. The people there are awesome.
I lived in Louisville for like 7 years. I've never even heard of that place.
I hadn't heard of it either until I was trying to find an extra place to investigate when we were going to Waverly Hills.
Yeah.
And Octagon Hall was great. I want to go back there soon.
That's super cool.
If you're ever back in Louisville, the Preston Highway Cemetery is huge gray walls and huge, the graves are all so tall and big and old. Preston Highway, if you remember that.
You sold me, sir. You sold me.
I lived in what used to be the mortuary across the street. And I would come home at night and park my car, and I would sit on my hood and I would stare at the graveyard. Because there's supposed to be a lady in white who walked from one end of the graveyard, and I never saw her. But every time I'd get home at that apartment, I would get out and I'd sit on my hood for like 10 minutes and just stare at the graveyard. Never saw her.
Ron says, Jason, this spring. That's right, Ron. Ron, we will reunite. We'll go to Octagon Hall, Waverly Hills, all that stuff.
There's a lot of skull in
I love Waverly Hills.
The effects.
I've only been the once, and it was cool.
People love skulls. Lots of skulls.
Skulls are the best.
I don't know why. Effects people want skulls because you're into anatomy when you're sculpting and stuff. So all these effects people have all these huge skull collections.
Weird. Mandy just wants one, guys. She's not being greedy.
And then you'll name it.
them all.
But I've heard once you get one, you kind of I can't have just one. I gotta have two.
That's right.
Well, two.
Steven pissed me off. Now I have two.
I don't want to pay for them anymore. I'm just kidding.
Just keep getting. You start murdering.
He's like, I've been investigating cemeteries too, guys.
That's terrible. Yeah, so that's my stuff.
Well, it's almost time, and we didn't even ask you your first paranormal experience.
Well,
I will give you the Cliff Notes version. I worked at a super old movie theater back in the day, and this movie theater was in Northern California. It was one of the first movie theaters on the coast, and I was working one late night with like 3 other people, and this is one of those places that was used as what originally was a theater. So it had a stage. It had an orchestra pit. The balcony had been turned into 2 separate movie screens. You had an organ that was like literally sunk into the ground. It was awesome. And there was a doorway inside the orchestra pit that led under the stage, and that led into some dressing rooms. And I had heard the stories of this place being haunted, and I was like, well, that's cool. But then one night, me and another person were cleaning that theater, and that little door literally just like swung open, slam shut, swung open, slam shut, swung open, slam shut 3 times. Bam, bam, bam. And there was no reason for that to do that unless there was somebody down there. And so I walked back up the aisle, and like yelled for my other assistant manager, because I was one of the managers and this other manager was there. I'm like, all right, man, there is somebody under the stage. And so we all like grouped together. We went down there. I went to the door. I swung it open. The other manager had gone behind the screen down to these stairs that led under there. So there was only 2 access points, where I was and where she was. And I swung it open. Nobody was in there. And she's like, there's nobody back here. Like nobody like dodged up the stairs past me or anything like that.
Wow.
And so yeah, that was the first like paranormal experience for me. And it wasn't until like I started doing paranormal investigations that I started experiencing them like a personal experience more and more often. So I mean, it's kind of like one of those things, once you start, like it's really hard to not just keep going with it.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a really good one. To see physical movement.
Yeah, I would love to investigate that theater, but it is not available. Like it's currently being used as a church, and they are just like, nah.
Oh.
Not happening.
There's 2 places I would love. I would love to investigate that place because it was the place I first had an experience. And then my mother grew up in a house in a small farming community in Nevada, and she grew up seeing a shadow figure in her house. And that house, I've learned the history of the house. There was a very wealthy man who built the house. He died. He's reportedly haunted that place. But the current owners have no interest in letting me investigate there. But I grew up hearing the stories of my mom having experiences there. And so those 2 locations, if I could nail those 2 places down, that would be amazing.
So those are your dream spots, dream locations.
Yeah, those are the 2 like I would absolutely love to do that, because there's like a personal attachment to those places. Yeah. But unfortunately right now it's just not possible.
I love that they're not like big places that everybody knows about. Like they're
like mine, the White House.
Yeah, Steven.
I just want to investigate the Haunted Mansion in Disneyland. People have dumped enough ashes in that place. It's got to be haunted still.
Mandy, what's your dream location?
Okay.
Space.
I know. I'm like, where? Space. Actually, I would really, really, really love to investigate Abraham Lincoln's home in Springfield.
He's born in a home he built himself. Did you know that? So I've been there with my
overachiever.
Family. I've been there with my family when I was a kid, and there's a sign that says Abraham Lincoln was born in a home he built himself. The thing is, his home got torn down, and he rebuilt it. But that's the joke. He was born in a home he built himself.
I've been there too. It's actually
cool.
I mean, it's just land now. In a fake home over where it used to be, but it's cool.
It's very cool.
But yeah,
he built it himself.
I want to do that.
Telling my story a couple times in the last few weeks of my dancing clothes, I would love to go back to my childhood home
I just can't with
and
that
see
story.
what do you not like about it?
I don't know. I just like the fact that you're so calm
She's
about
afraid
it
of
and
laundry.
just like I don't know.
Jason, my quick story of when I was a kid,
It's so weird.
I
have heard this story.
You have heard
Pat.
it, okay?
Yes.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna let you tell your story, but if you want to hear it again, you can check out Hollywood Paranormal Detectives interview with Vivian over at the Dead Hours. But yeah, tell your story. It's good
So
times.
listen to that. But it's just I pretty much would see the clothes on my mom's couch dance at night to try to help me sleep, and I didn't think it was weird, and I knew I was awake 100%, and that's the weirdest part when you can sit there and go, I'm awake. And I guess it wasn't. I should have been scared, but I was too little. I don't know.
It's weird because like when I was little, I would see things and they were like actual things moving around in my room. So the idea of dancing laundry, and me being excited about it is not something that.
But it was playful.
Because I was seeing like
young.
demons and shit. So. It's different.
I remember I would stare at my closet with the light on, and I knew that any second something was about to look out, and I would just stare at it so much that I would just freak out. I don't think I've ever mentioned this. In my house my parents still live in, I would hear a clock ticking. And it would get louder and louder and louder and like so
a Vecna
loud.
situation.
Yeah, Vecna's coming for you, bro.
It would just be ticking like, oh my
You are
god,
just like Papa.
and then it would stop, and there'd be no clock sound, and I'd be like, where is this clock? And then I didn't have a loud clicking clock even in the upstairs, but I'd be sleeping and I'd hear this clock ticking.
All
and
right.
It would get louder and louder and louder.
If you disappear, we all know where you went. And
The upside down.
he went to, we're just gonna leave it there. I'm sorry.
Sorry, bro. It's been fun.
You're not gonna come get me?
Yeah.
What's my favorite song? I don't even know.
Cause I'm running up the hill.
Steven, I don't know your favorite song.
I don't know. It's
Oh,
probably
this gives me anxiety.
something by Metallica. I don't know. Well, I guess that's time. Jason, we didn't even get into some of the questions. We don't even have anything written down, but we just pretty much talked pecs and fun. So maybe we'll have to have you back on, get some more.
Anytime, man.
Talk just a sideshow about superhero toys and Ghostbusters. I should do a toy tour. That's a good video.
That's what I did. If you go to my channel, there's a shelf tour of this guy. And if you're a member of the channel, you get a shelf tour of this case, which has all my Superman and Batman figures.
Do you have sideshow figures?
No, I don't. Oh, because those are expensive.
I have every sideshow movie Batman on display in my effects.
Yeah, you should do that. You should do that, man. Do like just a B-roll like shelf tour, like office tour type thing, and put it up on your channel.
Yeah.
I have
it's fun.
Lot. I have the bust of Batman, Superman, and the Joker that are full size, all three in that room. Have you seen those, Mandy? Next time you come by, we'll show you.
I don't care.
They're giant.
He has so much shit. It's overwhelming. I have no idea what he has because there's just so much.
I have 400 original Nintendo games on display on this wall over here.
I have like 5 Nintendo games. One of them is the Friday the 13th game because I have a Friday the 13th shelf right here.
Nice. Oh,
But apparently my light went out, so I have to replace the batteries on that light.
Behind this camera is my Freddy, Leatherface, Jason, Ash display, which is bigger than anything. I have
a Friday the 13th display. Like I have a Friday the 13th little collection going, but honestly, like Michael Myers Halloween is my favorite.
See, I was a Freddy kid, and then I think Ash and Leatherface were second. I have a part 2 mask from the original mold of Leatherface.
Nice.
I have so much shit, right, man?
Yeah.
I have so
I
much.
like it.
And I'm constantly rotating the collection. Jason,
I have a
what-
friend who's also like a massive Ghostbusters fan, so I got to make him jealous. How are you going to make him jealous, sir?
I don't know. I can see what I can do. I've got some pretty exclusive posters. I got some stuff signed. Where's my picture? Oh, I'll send you some pictures of like me and Ivan and my terror dog all together.
You have to.
And I took quick dad story. I took my son. He came to the shop in his jumpsuit. He was only 4. We set up the terror dog. We set up the minor ghost from the diner, and we set up 2 more things. What else did we set up? We didn't have Gozer, but we had her suit on display. But we filmed the shop. We filled it with smoke, put some special lights on. We brought my son in with a full working terror dog, and he busted it. And then we shut the light off and shut it down. So my son got to bust the ghost from Ghostbusters the day before we shipped. Pretty fun dad moment.
I love it. One of my favorite photos of the son that brought me a beer. We went to the Ghostbusters celebration over on the Sony lot a couple years ago.
We went then.
So we probably crossed paths and we didn't even know that.
He was a little redhead boy,
What?
little red-haired Ghostbuster.
So me and him were in our Ghostbuster gear.
Nice.
My oldest was too cool.
It was hot that day.
Oh, it was so hot. But you know how they had set up like a photo booth of like the OG action figure background and stuff?
Yeah.
I have a picture of me and my son like
In that.
sitting in that kind of thing.
Also,
And
some
next
really
to the Ecto
cool
ones. And
yeah. Some of those great
that was a fun day.
The proton packs for the cartoon versions are so smooth. Like, I want one of those so bad.
Yep.
I just have the regular lame.
I have a scratch built one from Home Depot type thing.
That's pretty good. Pretty good.
But I got the HasLab packs coming. I bought a couple of those.
Well, they're about Mattel's going to finally come out with one to match their gun, right?
Yeah, that's Hasbro is the HasLab pack. I have the one.
Yeah.
That's connected to my scratch built proton pack. But I'm getting a couple, like at least 2 of the HasLab packs.
Because I've got the trap and the goggles and the PKE from when Mattel did them. And then they stopped.
Yep.
You guys are so funny. You're like
Sorry, Mandy.
2 like 6-year-old kids. Like, I have this toy and I have this toy.
I still have
this
all
is
these
adorable.
toys.
Keep going.
I got so much
I think
You're
next
like,
time
"Do
I
you
have
wanna
one of my
see my
Geek Out live
toy?"
streams, I'm gonna call Steven and be like, bro, you got to come on with me and Crow.
Just tell me. Just tell me. I'm trying to see if I have
That's so
anything extra cool. I don't think so.
I have VHS covers I made for Ghostbusters Answer the Call and Ghostbusters Afterlife.
This is a pretty. Did you get this one with your pack?
No.
This is a.
Mandy's like, I'm gonna go find a different team to hang out
Look at
with
that
that's
Slimer.
less nerdy.
It's so funny. This is cracking me up.
Check out that Slimer.
It's pretty awesome. All my stuff's too far away to grab. I'd have to get off this seat, and I'm so lazy right now.
Oh, it's fine. I got so much stuff.
And Mandy's just like, I want a human skull.
I'm like, I have voodoo
Show us something,
beads.
Mandy.
I
Show
got
us.
voodoo beads. I got a gargoyle.
There you
All
go.
right, next time I'm on the show, Mandy, you got to be prepared. You got to bring us something nerdy. All right, you got to fit
I
in.
mean,
Or you got your human skull, and you're gonna be like, look at this, suckers.
I've even got original Mad Balls over here.
I have a fake
Oh
human skull.
shoot, Mad Balls. The only Mad Ball I have still is a more recent version they put out. That's Friday the 13th, so it's a Jason Voorhees Mad Ball.
I saw those.
Yeah.
I saw the Predator and the Alien too.
Predator and Alien. I want to say Leatherface, but I'm not sure.
I know that Predator one. I think I got, but my son took it. I have so much stuff. Oh my
I
gosh.
know.
Well, all right, sir. What a great night.
We could go on forever, guys.
Thank you so much. I love what you're doing. Keep doing it. Cemeteries are badass. I'm saying give me long videos. Give me like 4-hour cemetery videos. I can
Trying,
just put on
man.
and just
My
leave them.
cemetery videos run from like 7 minutes to 20 minutes, depending on if I'm cleaning stones or whatever.
I swear you could do 3-hour videos of just cemetery B-roll and people would just leave it on. Just to
Listen,
have
some of these cemeteries I could, man. They're
Yeah.
huge. I'm going to the East Coast in 2 weeks. I'm going to be shooting a ton of cemeteries. I can't wait. A lot of the photography that I'm going to be doing in those cemeteries on the East Coast is going to end up in a calendar that I'm putting out later this year.
Sick.
So if you're into calendar or like cemeteries and want a calendar tombstones for the rest of the year,
Yeah.
I will have a limited amount of those coming out. But yeah, like there's so many times I walk into a cemetery and unfortunately I walk into a cemetery and I'm just like, I got 30 minutes and then I need to leave. I'm like, how much can I get before I need to go?
If you go back to that house in Louisville, go down Bardstown Road. There are so many small cemeteries between buildings. Bardstown is kind of an old street. It's got a lot of kind of foot traffic, but at night there's these great cemeteries that are lit so awesome. There'll be like 2 family cemeteries between these big old buildings. And I remember we would just be walking down, going from like club to club in my 20s, and you'd stop and go, oh, that's such a horror scene. It's so perfect. Cemetery, perfectly lit. Check it out. All right, sir.
I will. Thanks for having me, guys. This has been a ton of fun.
Yeah.
It's been a ton of fun. We'll
Thanks
have
for
you
coming
back.
on.
We haven't had any repeat guests. Maybe we should start bringing some people
Let me be the
back.
first.
We'll do
Yeah.
it.
Let me be the first. And Mandy's going to be like, oh my God. Seriously,
Shut
guys.
up.
They're just gonna
No,
talk
this
toys.
is cool. This is cool.
They're gonna talk toys the whole time.
They're going to talk toys and movies and just nerd out.
Oh, and I
I
know I'm
love
bringing
seeing
you.
you guys excited about it.
I'll just
It makes
stack
me
my
happy.
toys next to here next time.
Dude,
So
next time I'm going to have like a show and tell. Next,
Look at this
the
original
next time I am
Panthro.
on, it is show and tell.
This Panthro still has his nunchucks.
This is the exclusive Clark Kent mail away figure.
Now, some Linos had orange hair, but this one has red hair. And if you put the light behind him, you can tell the eyes
you
are
can't
different.
see it well on video right now, but yeah.
All right, sir. You have a great night. Thanks for coming.
You too. Thanks, Mandy. Thanks, Steven.
Bye.
See ya.
See ya.
What a great guest. Mandy, I'm sorry.
No,
sorry.
you guys,
We went,
I thought it was great. I loved it.
we went to a vortex.
I
of
literally
nerddom.
watched 2 kids just share their toys. It was great.
Well, we got toys. Mandy, what a great time we had at PEX.
Yeah.
But what do we have coming up?
Do we talk about it?
Yeah, Vulture City.
Okay.
We're going to, we got to get people to come to Vulture City.
Vulture City.
Vulture City,
Arizona.
Paracon,
Next
Arizona.
weekend. Not this weekend. Next weekend.
Not next weekend. We're gonna have just a little table hanging out. Nothing big. We're not even featured that much, but it's us and meet and greet, hang out, get a sticker. You know, if you didn't get a sticker in Virginia City, get one this week.
Yeah, it'll be cool. There'll be
Also-
a lot of cool people there. Patty will be there. Natalie will be there.
I want to talk to Colin from Paranormal Files. I've never met him.
Yeah.
And I've been watching him since he was a little kid. So it's cool to
Be a
be
lot of
there
cool
with him.
people. So if you guys are in Arizona the weekend of October 7th through 9th, come check it out.
Yeah, and we're gonna investigate somewhere.
We're doing something.
We're doing something, and it's gonna be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
This show is brought to you by our Patreon. It's not a lot of people, but it pays for the show. If you really love us, follow the link tree in our bio. Just that $1 Patreon helps, pay for the program and pay for stuff like that. It would be appreciated. We got some awesome t-shirts like the one I'm wearing. We did not sell any Hollywood Paranormal Detectives PEX t-shirts. The only two in existence are owned by me. Unless anyone on this stream runs right now, I'm going to take it off next week. But what else we got, man? Anything else big? Check out some TikToks. We got some big TikToks that are pretty cool. That are
media.
Slowly documenting a little bit of our Virginia City adventure. We'll probably be live on there coming up in some time. And I don't know, man. You think that's it?
I know that's it. That's all I got.
Oh, and follow me over to our Twitch if you want to see me
yes.
get scared out of my mind playing this game is about jump scares. I'm gonna turn the lights off. I'm gonna play it. It's a paranormal based. I think you take recordings and stuff and try to see if you can catch recordings, things like that. It's a very scary game.
Is it just gonna be like you jump, like screaming and crying the whole time?
Yeah, it's a lot of crying. It's supposed to be a very terrifying game.
Perfect.
So go over to our Twitch. Give me about 10 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, and I'll be playing The Mortician's Assistant. Oh, I'm so afraid to play it. Turn the lights off. I don't want to do it. It's so scary.
I think I've seen this game on TikTok.
Yeah, people are freaking out.
Yeah, it's like scary as shit.
Yeah, it's scary as shit, Mandy. I'm going to play
it. Yes.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
All right. Say goodnight, Mandy.
Good night, Mandy.
Woo-hoo. That's my